Hi, my name's Ashley Adamson. So, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about, but we're going to talk about it, and you see it in the headline already what we're actually talking about. So you know in the future what's actually been talked about. So I am processing a lot. I've been feeling pretty depressed these past few days, and I haven't really been understanding what it is exactly is. Do you ever have those feelings where you're like, what's going on with me? What's wrong? Like nothing is wrong, but I can pin it on things and say that's the thing that's making me feel bad, but maybe it's not. Do you question yourself sometimes? You go, is that actually the thing that's making me feel bad? Or is there something unprocessed here that I'm not looking at? Do you ask yourself that question? Because that's a good question to ask. But sometimes it's as simple as perhaps my neurochemicals are just like not working right now, or maybe I'm in some kind of state where I'm lacking certain chemicals. Every Wednesday, today's Friday, every Wednesday, I inject heroin. I do not inject heroin. Don't do drugs like that. But on Tuesdays, I inject estrogen. And by Wednesday, I wake up and I feel pretty depressed. That's an actual typical thing. I switched to a new estrogen, and that's been a new experience of mine that I haven't been used to, but is something that I'm getting used to these past 3 months because it's a better estrogen for me. It allows for a more even dose. It emulates estradiol cypionate, which starts with a C in case you're wanting to look that up, but it's not. I'm forgetting what it is. But I wake up emotional on Wednesdays, and I have been waking up emotional on Thursday as well, and kind of just laying there in bed staring at the ceiling thinking, oh my God, I cannot leave this bed. I do not want to leave. The life feels pointless. It feels meaningless. I just feel awful. I also feel lonely. Do you feel that? I don't think everyone feels this, but I'm definitely feeling it right now. And as much as I have, this is the thing, is as much as I have my own cognitive ability and resilience to make my way through this and to know, okay, Ashley, it's just a moment. You're feeling really crappy and you're having a bad time. Just kind of weather out the storm. You got this. And as much as I can say that and know that, it doesn't change how I feel or experience things. Don't you find it kind of annoying when you express some kind of aspect of how you're feeling bad and then other people will just say, well, you just need to change yourself and what you're feeling is should be brushed over. It's not really valid. And I find that so like, can we not bypass our emotions? The other side of things is also some people that lean into their emotions a lot and you go, okay, like you can stop being a crybaby and you can start working on it because I've heard you crying about this thing about 20 times and I'm tired of it. So there is kind of a balance, right? Like I'm not going to complain about being depressed and being a victim of my depression. Like I don't know if you do that, but do you ever feel like you are the victim of the depression or your bad feelings? Because if you're doing that, which I know some of you may be doing, I've seen some of you on the Discord channel, which is why I created a channel specifically for that called Being Human is Hard. So that way not everyone has to opt in to people having their own bouts of negativity. But you know, it's sort of like, how do you identify with the pain? What's your relationship with that? Because depending on your relationship with pain, it dictates your own story that you tell yourself of your own capability of what you can do with your pain. Do you get that? Do you understand what I mean? Your story that you tell yourself sets you up for what you're capable of doing. So this is a really simple way of thinking about it. If you are trans, and I'm not saying all of you are, but if you are trans, and think about the moment before you even thought it was possible that you could be trans. You may have thought something like, well, I was born this way, and that's the end of the story. Until you realized you could change yourself. And then suddenly you're like, oh, I'm trans. I've changed my story. And in doing that, I now have the capability to change my gender, change my life, change how I express myself, change to hormones, all of those things. For me, that was the same thing. I didn't acknowledge I was trans for a very long time, till I was 30 actually. And then by acknowledging that I was trans, I could then take the steps to say it's possible that I could take hormones, but maybe I'm not going to take them now. And then eventually I did. And then eventually I said, I'm a trans woman. And then, oh my God, here you go. Full-blown trans femme named Ashley. Hi. So it's like the possibility of the story, right? Like that switch in my own mind in acknowledging myself gives me the ability to see a new version and then move towards that future version of myself. So where is within you, because this is super important, where is within you the ability to look at your own narrative of how you say what is possible? Oh, like here's an example. Oh, I think this is the realm of possibility. I'm able to make this much money. I'm able to wear these kinds of clothes. I'm able to look this kind of way. I'm able to speak this kind of way, act this kind of way, be seen as this kind of a person. And this is where I live. This is how I live. That is going to set you up for success, or it's going to set you up in a way that's kind of going to be failure, depending on how you look at it. If you are always a victim of your story and saying and positioning yourself, this happens to me and woe is me, I can't believe this is always happening, then it's going to continue to be that situation. You are going to continue to be a victim, which is really sad because I don't want anyone to be a victim. And yes, there are victims. You can't ignore the fact that people are victims of things, but you have the ability to control your story. Now, sometimes it's easier said than done. You can't just rewrite some things that are deeply ingrained in your brain, especially trauma. But you can rewrite your story with trauma. You can say, oh, my story with trauma is A, which would you rather have? My story with trauma is A, I can't change it and I can never change it and I'm just always going to be a victim of that. Or the other extreme, B, I can rewrite my relationship with my trauma. I don't need to be disempowered by it. I don't need to fight it. I don't need it to be something that stops me from living my life. I can let it be however it wants to be. I don't need to fight it. When it comes up, I'll resolve it and I'll just move on. You know, those are kind of like two sides of the bucket. I'm super big about rewriting your narrative and a big believer in your ability to change yourself, but you cannot change yourself until you see that your possibilities of who you are is different. So that's, I guess, what we're talking about now is your narrative and how important it is. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'll end it there for now. I'd love to hear from you in how you think your narrative plays a role and what you think you can do and what your possibilities are. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for supporting me and being there for me. I'm going to be changing up my rewards soon, so sign up. I'm going to be changing it to where I think we're going to be doing more reaching out and we're going to do more back and forth because I think that's really where the value is. I will see you in another episode soon. Bye.